Hello there and welcome to BNetTV.com. I'm Michelle Sklar. We're here at the CTIA Wireless 2008 show. I am joined by Russell Gocht of Mobot. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks, Michelle.
Give us a brief overview of your company.
Sure. Mobot's in the business of taking traditional two-dimensional media, such as print advertising, outdoor, even product packaging. And we enable it so the average camera phone user can take their average camera phone, take a photo of it, send it to Mobot, we look it up in our search database, and connect that user to a great mobile experience.
Okay, so we're talking imaging.
Imaging. It's about imaging, it's about image search, it's about using visual cues, as we call them, to engage the consumer quickly from a traditional media to the mobile experience.
Absolutely. Now, what kind of database are we talking about here?
Well, it's a proprietary database that we've built up based on technology we've developed that makes this work very robustly. One of the things we focus on is accuracy. Our advertisers and our customers, which we've had over several years now, are very interested in a great consumer experience. And so the most important thing to them is that we actually match the right ad to the right experience. And so we focus on all the challenges that come with using a camera phone in an average consumer in an average setting, glare, reflection, all types of lighting conditions, and this is a great problem, and we've solved it. This is an advertisement that was created in cooperation with the United Nations to enable consumer who sees this ad in an outdoor setting or in a newspaper to take a photo of Tony's mouth, send it to a well-known number, and hear Tony's story. And so the idea is just grab your camera phone, take a picture of Tony, send it to Mobot as an MMS, which is straightforward to do because the Mobot shortcode is well known, 66268. Send that along, and in a few seconds we'll get a call from Tony telling us exactly what his story is. So there's the call from Tony, and we'll put him on speaker.
And I've been on the street since probably January this year.
Tony has a long story, but that's Tony's story, and he's calling you right now to tell you what's going on with him and his life. It's a great social awareness campaign that was executed in cooperation with the United Nations.
Fantastic. You know, one of the things that we have been talking about with companies that do some similar things is the opportunity that allow brands to keep their products relevant if they haven't perhaps created things in the last 3 months or 6 months or whatever the case may be. And I think that is important in helping brands make the transition, if you will, into more innovative marketing opportunities. So maybe you can comment on that a little bit.
Sure, very much so. I mean, like for instance, a great campaign we're doing right now that's hugely innovative. It's a social awareness campaign, and we did it with the United Nations, and it's a call to action that's really impressive because it lets you engage right away with that person, and the person's picture is there, and you take their photo on that ad, and then you hear their story. And so it might be an AIDS victim, it might be someone who's an abused person, this kind of thing, and you hear their story right away. And it's a very traditional media, and the next thing you know, your phone is ringing and you're hearing their story.
Right, absolutely. I think that the mobile engagement is really about what impacts the consumer in terms of really getting them to embrace brands advertising to them. If you're just going to flash an image in front of somebody, it just doesn't have the same impact anymore. But if you're going to engage them with their most personal device, then you're going to have a much greater audience and a much more sincere audience.
Right. Indeed. We find that the idea of a consumer taking a photo of an ad really amplifies that impression dramatically, 3 or 4-fold, I think, is what you'll find in terms of the consumer's retention of that brand and their impression of that.
And how are you populating your database? Like,
so we work with advertisers and media partners to bring in their digital content, their traditional assets in digital form, of course, and then we've been growing it over years, so we have thousands and thousands of images that are relevant to consumers in either magazines or outdoor settings.
Fantastic. And so do you have any new announcements at the show or new things?
The thing that's happening right now is we've been very active in foreign markets because the MMS infrastructure in the U.S. was slow to be ready for our application. And so right now what what we're finding is that the carriers in the U.S. are interested in pushing MMS and are making it possible for applications like ours to work really well for the consumer. We're in a strong position with respect to MMS infrastructure and MMS applications now in the U.S. because of such experience around the world.
So if a brand wants to work with your company, how do they get a hold of you? How does that work?
Well, I mean, we're at Mobot.com, so that's the first place to start.
Okay.
Easy to find, Mobot.com. And, we're ready to work with them. We have mobile partners in the U.S. as well as have done campaigns on our own. So it really depends on the exact needs of that client, and we're pretty flexible about that.
Fantastic. Russell, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate that. We've been here with Russell Gocht of Mobot, and we're here at the CTIA Wireless 2008. I'm Michelle Sklar for VNetTV.com.